Sup, beautiful people? After so long, it's your girl Andrea, and today we're going to be talking about moving from Nigeria to Romania. This video I think will be helpful for most people who also want to come from Africa to Europe in general, but let's stick to mainly Nigeria and Romania. Because of the economic crisis in Nigeria, and insecurity problems, you get it. The main option and believed solution for a lot of citizens in Nigeria would be going out of the country, aka to Jakpa, great, as we call it. So, most of the time, people make others believe that, they tell us it's soft life, it's easy life, this, that, the good parts, okay? But here we're gonna be realistic, both the good, both the bad, however you view it, but we're gonna be realistic. Most of these things I didn't know them, some of them I did, but a lot of them I had to find out after coming here. Even being half Romanian, I still had to find out when I came here. So let's start. First of all, would be the language. By the language, I don't mean over here we speak Romanian. I mean, anyone can really Google that out and be like, okay, they speak Romanian as the official language. What I mean is that Romania, like other, or at least like most European countries, have citizens, a lot of citizens who speak English. Majority of the citizens nowadays speak English, although the older citizens are less likely to speak or understand English. There are other citizens who also understand French and German as they are taught in schools, after a certain period of time at least. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn Romanian. If you want to get a good job, like a higher ranked job, well paid, you most likely still need to learn Romanian. And in some companies, you need both Romanian and English. Although, if you live in bigger cities with lots of tourists like Bucharest or maybe Timișoara, you could get a job with just English, but it depends on the pay. So, with that being said, you could easily find your way here by finding an English speaker if you get lost, especially in cities. I mean, in rural areas, there are people who could speak English, but they are less likely. So, the second thing a lot of people don't talk about is the price of self maintenance. What do I mean? In most African countries, or let me specialize on Nigeria, you could easily braid your hair, you could get braids, you could cut your hair at a barber shop for as low as, I mean, when I left, you could get a haircut for 200 naira. Well, over here, you could be paying way more. Like, I mean, for citizens here, it's normal and all that, but the cost is more, way more for an average Nigerian. Now, for the women, I know that normally we like to braid our hair, we like to change hairstyles every now and then. Well, over here, that's a luxury. So, we know what we mean by a luxury, right? Like, it's not, let's say, a necessity for Romanians, but we know what we mean. Um, in Nigeria, when I left, let's say on average you could get braids for 5 to 7,000 naira. As of now, I heard that the prices increased to some places averaging about 15 to 20,000, maybe 30,000 naira just for a set of braids. Well, over here you're gonna be paying somewhere around 400 lei. That's 400 rounds. You can convert that if you want. Okay. So it's not cheap. Other things like maintenance in Nigeria, you can easily get your nails done. I mean, in local salons, maybe for as low as 20,000 naira or 10,000 naira when I last left. Maybe if you were going to a more professional nail tech, maybe 30,000 naira, 50, you get it. But over here, well, it really depends on the nail tech you go to. I mean, you could expect nails somewhere from 50 rounds to any other price, 50 rounds and higher, but on average expect somewhere around 150 round. It depends on the nail tech, if they're a beginner, if they're mid, if they're pro, the city as well. It all depends. A lot of these things also depends on the city. In Bucharest, places like Timișoara, Cluj, the cost of maintenance is a lot, and the living as well is a lot, so it makes sense. Now, although this one could be obvious, I have met people who didn't know that you can't easily find African food here. I mean, in Bucharest and in some cities, mostly bigger cities with more tourist attractions, you could easily find, okay, not very easily, not easily, but you could find African stores, maybe African restaurants, but not all over Romania, okay? The closest to where I stay is in Bucharest. That's an hour drive from here, so yeah. I mean, you could find some ingredients, for instance. Um, you could have basically everything to make jollof rice over here. You could find okra at some supermarkets, although they might not feel like the ones from Nigeria. And a lot of things which are hard to find, like a goosey. I think the main thing, which is the hardest to find, would be leaves, because we know the duration, we know how long they last, so they're not always fresh. If you do find one, either they will be really dried or you won't see them at all. So yeah. So there's something I really found interesting when I came here at first, and I would say that the country, although being smaller than Nigeria, which explains a lot, you could easily go from one city to another within a shorter time frame. Now, the last time I went on land, um, from two places in Nigeria, from the capital to somewhere in Port Harcourt, it was about 9 to 12 hours, or possibly more or less, but around on average, okay? So it takes about 12 hours, a 12-hour drive. And over here, just to another city, I'll say the longest I've ever stayed on the road was about 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours. So about 5 to 6 hours from here to another city. And we did pass more cities, about 2, 3 cities, or rather counties, but that's just the longest. On average, it takes about 2 to 3 hours to go to another city, at least not a city which is the opposite region, I would say. For instance, if you're going from the south of Romania to the north, you could expect hours. Now, we know that there aren't a lot of mountains in Nigeria, at least compared to Romania. A lot of regions in Romania, they got a lot of mountains. And one thing that a lot of people aren't used to would be hiking, the hiking parts. Like you go to a tourist attraction, you gotta climb something. You go to the mountains, you gotta hike. You go here, a lot of climbing, a lot of hiking. So keep that in mind. And I guess there are lots of culture shocks. Normally, as normally in Nigeria, I met a lot of people who were like, in Europe, they don't have culture, they don't have traditions, they don't believe in superstitions. They don't do this, they don't do that. But over here, Romania and in Eastern Europe, we got culture. We got traditional attires, which are not suits. We got traditional attires. Okay. Um, we have days of celebration, like one we call Mărțișor, which I think could be my favorite so far. It's like traditional Women's Day. There are lots of superstitions Romanians believe in a lot. So yeah, one thing in general I would say that coming here has taught me, and I believe has taught a lot of foreigners, would be that in general we are one people, like there's no such thing as supremacy. So I guess these are the things I can remember and have asked around on what you wouldn't really expect initially if you live in Nigeria, or if you're coming to Romania, or most European countries at first, but is the reality. So if you found this useful, if you found this helpful or informative, and you know a friend who's planning to come to Romania, or planning to come to Europe, or just finding a country to come to, feel free to share. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing. Have a great day.